Welcome to Life of the Party. Thank you everyone for coming. On this episode, I'm going to try to weasel the crumb cake recipe out of my friend Lauren. It's been 6 years planning, and finally, a little persuasion with the television episode might do it. Lauren, are you ready to show me that crumb cake recipe?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Well, as we've done in the past, we like to get to know my guest a little bit, because as much as the crumb cake recipe is the most important part of her to me, there might be other parts of her that are equally as wonderful.
I hope so.
So, Lauren, I know you have several children. How many children do you have, and who is your favorite?
Oh, that's such a good question. Especially since 3 out of 4 of them are here tonight. It'd be easy to pick a favorite. I think it depends on who's done the most help around the house probably that day.
Yeah.
So Drew would never be my favorite. Hannah's, she's pretty good. She's often my favorite. And Quinn's at college, so he could be my favorite. And then there's Carol. She helps with feeding the animals, so sometimes she's my favorite too.
Well,
they're all my favorite?
Yes, that's understandable. I think if I had 4 children, they'd all be my favorite too. When I drive by your house, I notice you have a lot of pets. Whew. How many pets do you have, and which pet is your favorite?
Do I count the chickens as a whole, or do I count each individual?
I want to know how many chickens you have.
I think they're between 17 and 19 chickens. That's a lot.
At any given time.
They're not named anymore. After a friend's dog came over and killed 5 of our pet chickens that had names, we decided it would be better not to name them and get so attached. So we have a dog, Uno, and he's lovely. And unless he's eating the chicken food and then creating messy problems in the house. And we have a couple of horses that are really beautiful, and they're lovely pets as well, depending on the vet bill of that month. And the chickens, which are great because they produce the eggs. Yeah, and a cat who gets the mice. Yeah.
Good. So everyone has a purpose.
They
really
do. Yeah, pets should have a purpose.
Yes. And to love you, of course.
And to love me.
Love you back.
Yeah, yes. Definitely.
You're obviously very busy feeding children, pets, taking care of things, trying to get your children to help with the housework. That's a job in itself.
Big one.
What do you do when you find time for yourself?
That's not all that often. So I used to like to hike a lot, and I don't have as much time for hiking. So this spring I actually joined a group called Training for More with Lynn Grieger, and I just ran my first half marathon a couple weeks ago, which was really great.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to hear a good crumb cake story.
Well, there's so many stories that have come from stealing the crumb cake recipe off the television set that I witnessed many, many years ago. When I used to fold laundry in front of the TV, I saw somebody, and I don't remember who it was, and I don't even remember the show, but somebody said, this is a recipe for like a New York bakery-style crumb cake, traditional crumb cake. And I thought, growing up in New Jersey and in Vermont, I thought, I'd never really been able to find the actual crumb cake recipe. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper, which I've kept, and figured out how to make it. And ever since, I would make the crumb cake and bring it to parties, or I'd send it in the mail to somebody who wasn't feeling well. And anybody who ever tasted the crumb cake, at first they would be, kind of quiet about it, but I would get a lot of phone calls and a lot of people saying, that crumb cake, it's just like when I was a kid, or I need to have it. It's just like the bakery. It's just like I remember, and it's really delicious. So, although it gave me a sense of fame and a sense of people needing me, it also has been a bit of a burden. So I'm really excited to share it with all of you out there, and then maybe people will be able to make it on their own and enjoy it.
You really want to impress your company.
Oh,
what happens in your kitchen?
Yeah. When I really want to impress my company, especially when there's a lot of them, I pull out my husband, who is able to make like Eggs Benedict for 50 on a fly. Bob, because we own Bob Steiner, and so he is really good with the hollandaise and making good food for most people. I know it. Yeah, that's what I do. It's easy.
All right, so I can come to your house.
I pass it.
Instead of going to Bob.
Sure, of course.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to call So you've just, maybe this is it. Your husband has just made 50 perfect eggs Benedict, and you're bringing it to the table on a glass crystal platter that was given to you by someone that you might not ever see again, and it all smashes to the floor. What do you say?
Wow. If it's not Easter, I'll say, holy f***ing Christ. What am I going to do? Did you bleep that?
Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks. If it's Easter, I say, oh no. Oh no.
Oh.
That didn't just happen.
You say?
I say 10 Hail Marys, and then I hope that everybody brought enough other food.
Well, thank you, Lauren. I think we've gotten to know you quite well.
Okay, I hope so.
Are you ready to show me how to make that crumb cake?
Totally ready. Yeah, to share my burden.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
You ready to see it? Well, Lauren, I know the show is all about crumb cake.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to just serve just crumb cake. So you are actually parting with another amazing recipe for me. Thank you. Yeah. And it is a Southwestern egg casserole.
Yeah. We're bringing casserole back.
We're bringing the casserole back.
We're bringing casserole back. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Casseroles work really well with big families, which you already found out that I have a big one. And you found out that I have chickens, so that means I have a lot of eggs, a plethora of eggs. So this recipe I found because it used a lot of eggs, and it was easy, and it fed a lot. So I think everyone's going to love this.
And we're going to feed all of them.
Yeah.
So let's show them how easy this is.
Okay, great. So you start with 10 eggs that we already have in our bowl. And they're both the yolk and the whites. It's all in there. And you mix a pound of sauteed sausage. I use hot Italian sausage, but you can use any kind of sausage you want. Also, I have, thank you very much, my daughter Hannah is a vegetarian, so sometimes I'll split this in half, and I'll do half without any meat and half with the sausage, with all the other ingredients, and it's just as delicious.
Do you ever add, like, mushrooms or green pepper? Well, we have green chilies.
Yeah. No, I always think about that when I'm making it, like all the things I could add, but I never do.
You're left-handed. That's so funny.
I am left-handed.
Go this way.
Oh, I can't. Okay, so this this is shredded cheddar cheese.
And this is Vermont cheddar. We're
Vermont
using
cheddar.
Plymouth cheddar today.
Yep, yep.
And that's a pound of cheese, a pound of sausage,
Yep.
a pound of cheese.
2 cans of green chilies.
And those are the cans that look like Friskies food cans, you know, like
cat
little,
food.
Yeah, it looks like a little cat food can.
Yep.
That's how I explained to Tom when he had to go to the store and get it for me. It looks like cat food. That size.
Sometimes it even has like a pop lid, which is super easy.
Right, like
easy
cat
is
food.
good. Easy is good. This is a pint of cottage cheese.
Which is also a pound.
And protein. And protein.
And this, I think, helped make it lighter and moister and delish.
Yep. This is some butter. Butter just makes everything better. I think
it's a half a stick.
Half a stick of butter melted. Yep. And these are some of the rising ingredients. There's some flour, some salt, and some baking powder.
Yep, a half a cup of flour and a teaspoon of baking powder and a pinch of salt.
Yep. Just mix it up.
And while she's mixing that, we sprayed a 9x13 Pyrex pan. You can butter it or whatever. I wouldn't Crisco it. I wouldn't Crisco anything, except maybe fried chicken. But that is...
Agreed.
Good.
Yeah.
You agree.
I do.
All good chefs agree. You only use Crisco for fried chicken.
Delicious. Yeah. So you mix it up in your bowl.
Mix it up. How long did that take?
Like no time at all. Didn't even have to make the eggs. The girls did that outside.
If only they shook them for you.
I know it.
And you could just pour them.
I know. So you put that in the pan. And the other thing about this casserole, and I like to use the word casserole because I think we need to bring it back and make it cool.
Yeah.
Like the crock pot.
Casseroles are the new...
Yeah. Is that this egg dish is delicious for every meal. It's good hot, it's good cold, lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever you want. Yeah,
I considered actually the next day taking a piece and putting it on an English muffin with maybe a little more melted cheese and maybe some bacon and making an egg sandwich out of it.
You think like a chef. Voila, there it is.
So we are going to put this in an oven, 400 degrees for 10 minutes, and you turn down the oven to 350 and give it another half an hour. And we're going to put this in the oven now.
And get to the crumb cake.
And get to the crumb cake. So while that's baking, we're going to take a break and set up to show you the piece de resistance. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
All right. Whether it's French, English, American, or from Brooklyn, we're going to show you how to make the crumb cake. We'll be right back. All right, Lauren. The time has come.
This is it.
It's the moment I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're pretty methodical about making your crumb cake, so
Yeah.
I want to know all about it from start to finish.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the thing is, when I took the recipe off the show, I just wrote the ingredients down, and so over time I've figured out how to do it, I think, the most efficiently. But I want to warn you before I show everybody this, and you, that be careful what you wish for. Once you're armed with this recipe, people are going to be knocking down your door even more than they are now.
and I made it for my employees today.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's okay. All right. All right, here we go. So the first thing, I always have my pan prepared. So I grease and flour a quarter sheet pan, just like this one. And I found that it's easier if you make the crumb topping first, because the way that the wet and dry ingredients go for the cake part, I think that it's important to do it very quickly. So I have everything prepared before I do the cake part. So this right here is the crumb topping. And in the bowl, we have prepared 5 cups of flour and 2 cups of light brown sugar. I've made it with dark brown sugar, but I think that it tastes better with the light brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and to that we're going to add a whole pound of delicious butter. Yeah. And
A whole pound.
I really love butter. Another thing that my family teases me about, but someday they'll appreciate, is I only buy unsalted butter. Oh, you know what? I always mix the dry ingredients first. Oops, I almost missed that.
All right.
So I take a whisk.
You could do it with your hands. Can you get dirty in
I
it?
will get. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We're not afraid. It's life of the party.
It is. It's life of the party. You got to
It's the
get
life
it.
of the party. Get dirty.
Yeah. It's not a meatloaf. It's just some flour and sugar and some cinnamon.
Mmm.
Yeah.
Think what it's going to be like when it's time to clean your nails later.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Got that nail brush right there next to the sink. Oh. Yeah. So I like to break up the brown sugar because it gets in little hard pods. So I break it up as much as I possibly can ahead of time.
That looks good.
Yeah.
All right.
Butter. And then here comes the butter. Yep.
Maybe we should add 2 pounds.
I know. I don't think it could hurt. I don't think you ever have too much butter. And again, I use my hands.
This is the sensual part of the crumb cake.
This is the titillating, sensual part of making the crumb cake.
Mm. And you don't want the crumbs to be too small, right? When I was making it today,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I love those big, giant crumbs.
Right.
My great-grandmother worked in a bakery, and my grandmother did too, right, Mom? And when Grandma didn't, just Nanny. But when Grandma and Grandpa would come from Long Island, they would bring crumb cake with them sometimes. Oh. And it was so good.
Yeah.
And then I had yours.
Yeah, and it reminded you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
And guess
know.
what?
It's Melancholy City.
I made some for my grandma.
And what did she think?
She loved it.
Oh, that makes me really happy. And that's what you hear over and over again. Like, people, they get it, they have a bite of it, and then they sort of start thinking about it, and then they have another piece, and then they go crazy. They're like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That is just like I remember. And it's so good. It's few ingredients, and it's really delicious, and I'm happy to share it finally and pass the burden on. Okay.
Do you have crumb cake burden classes?
There's going to be a support group.
Yes,
that
that's
we're
right,
going to have a link on the website.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to spearhead that, and it'll be very helpful. You'll all appreciate it if you actually
Lauren.
make it. Yeah. All right, I'm going to rinse my hands, and then we'll move
Okay.
over to the cake part.
That sounds good.
Okay, so hopefully everybody has a KitchenAid, because I don't know what I would do without it. And
It's a great tool.
it's a fabulous tool. So first we mix all the wet ingredients, which would be a cup of milk. And I use whatever I have in the refrigerator, 2% or whole milk.
Yeah, that's 2%.
Yep, perfect. 4 teaspoons of vegetable oil, canola oil, or whatever you usually have.
Tablespoons, actually.
Tablespoons, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
4 teaspoons of vanilla. Pure vanilla extract is important. No,
Madagascar vanilla is my favorite.
no imitation, please.
No. Although I have to say, I watched a Christopher Kimball show.
Yeah.
You know how he has his little things?
Yeah.
And he had all these chefs taste testing imitation versus real vanilla. And
Say
they
it
all
isn't so.
picked the imitation.
Say it isn't so.
And, you know, you can get a gallon of imitation for like $15 and a quart of
Fraction.
real is 80.
I know.
It's tempting, but not for the crumb cake.
No. And how
And I
would they
wouldn't do it in my chocolate chip cookies either.
No. Something doesn't seem quite right about that, but they must make the fake really well. So we need 2 eggs as well.
Yes.
Would you like to add the eggs?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a trick.
Okay, great.
Lots of times, people want to crack the eggs on the edge of something.
I usually do.
But the cracking on the edge makes the shell splinter more. So a secret is to crack it on a flat surface. And then it is not as likely to splinter. You get a nice straight line where you can put your fingers.
That's fantastic.
There we are.
Great. There it is. Mix them up.
That's a cup of milk, 4 tablespoons of oil, vegetable oil we used, 4 teaspoons of vanilla, and 2 eggs.
That's it. Say 2.
Okay.
Mix it up. And then we sift our dry ingredients. So we have 3 cups of flour.
And Lauren and I both agree that the flour in the sifter here, shaking it, is a better tool than the actual old style. That thing gets dirty and clumpy and stuff gets stuck in it and it's a pain to wash.
I mean, what's that about? Why was that ever better?
I don't know. Someone needed to make money somewhere down the road.
Yeah, well, they did.
Yeah.
I'm going to add, so we also have a cup of sugar, just white, regular sugar. And we have 5 teaspoons of baking powder, which gives our cake a lot of lift.
Light.
Teaspoon of salt.
I like to use regular granulated salt when I'm baking because the kosher salt doesn't measure the same because there's so much space between the granules. So in a recipe for baking where the measurements are more important, I tend to use granulated salt over kosher.
I do. For baking, I use table salt. For cooking, I use the kosher salt. Okay, now we're ready to add our dry to our wet.
And this,
Yeah, I do it gradually.
Simple.
On slow. Yep, it smells right.
sure does.
It looks right.
And you notice we're going to be making a lot of crumb cake here. That's you could probably half this recipe. A half of the recipe would fit nicely maybe in a 9-inch cake pan.
Yep.
So if you don't want to make that because you'll end up eating it all over the course of 2 days, you could make a smaller one or freeze one.
Yep.
Make this recipe.
It freezes
Do
really well.
2 9-inch cake pans
Yep.
and freeze one. Lauren says she likes to keep one in her freezer.
Yep.
For when she has to either go somewhere or someone is sick or she drops whatever it was she was making previously.
Pull one out. It's a good safety.
All right, let's give that just a quick.
Yep. There it is.
All right.
Okay. It's sticky. The batter is really sticky. And so over time, I have used a spatula that I dip in flour to help me move the sticky batter, because I couldn't quite figure that out.
Okay, I'll move over here.
Yep.
Here's our prepared pan. I'm going to put this over here.
So you spread it into your sheet pan.
And you'll notice that the cake to crumb ratio is very low.
Yeah. There's a little more
Because it's
crumb to the cake.
Maybe it should be called a cake crumb instead of crumb cake. I don't know. But it's definitely more crumb than cake, which is the best part, obviously.
Yeah. It's delicious. And sometimes it's stickier than other times. And I don't know if it's the temperature of the room or the ingredients or whatever it is, but it doesn't really matter. It still always tastes delicious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we want to use the other spatula? So what I usually do is I'll have a little plate with some flour on it.
I got you a present.
That's fantastic.
That is what you should use. Lauren, when she taught me, said, oh, I take the spatula and I dip it. And I said, oh, no, no, no.
No.
This is what you lick.
Yeah. And then Amy came over with her weapon and just was like, whew, and did what I did in a very long time in a very short time. Okay.
It still helps. She has her little plate of flour here that she's dipping in there, and it helps to keep it from sticking. It is quite sticky today,
It's really
isn't it?
sticky. Yeah. But you're going to run into that, so you need to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maybe you should use this tool.
You want me to try it?
Sure. Want to?
Yeah, I'll get it done.
All right.
You can't be too gentle. You have to push it around like it's your third child. No offense, Hannah.
I know. Oh, there's number 3. She's
I'm doing all right here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a sticky batch.
It is. It's very. But look, everyone. There's like hardly any batter even covering the bottom.
It's amazing. I think it's because of the baking powder, but it is a thin layer of batter, and that's normal.
And it also is normal, I think, when some of, one part of it is like this high of cake and this high of crumb, and then another part is this high of cake and that high of crumb.
It's certainly not a uniform cake.
All right, Lauren, I'm getting discouraged.
I know.
Thought I would save the day
Maybe
with my spatula.
We'll go back to this one. It's a little gentler. Maybe I was right.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe I wasn't. Oh, that's great.
We'll just tag team it.
Okay. You can't use too much flour either. I mean, when it's really sticky, just add more flour to your spatula. See?
Yeah, look at that.
It might not be pretty now, but it's still going to be delicious.
No idea. You're all going to get some.
Yeah. I don't even know anybody who's never had traditional crumb cake either. That's the thing. It always brings up pleasant memories for people who have it.
Even if it's grandma putting some Entenmann's in the toaster oven.
Yeah.
It's still.
Yeah. It's a feel-good food for sure. All right, we're almost there, Amy.
Yeah. There, I see no blank spots.
No blank spots?
Let me just get
All
that.
right, luckily, we're going to cover up all this stickiness.
Now.
Yep, and then we add the crumbs. And when I add the crumbs, I do it again with my hands, and I spread it out like this. And this sort of makes the crumbs more uniform, and there's always going to be big, nice chunks that you want, because they're delicious. I remember my father, when I was a kid, he would open up the crumb cake, and all the big pieces would be missing. Yeah, you knew he'd been in there.
I need to wipe. And look at that. She loves it.
I know.
It's a labor of love.
I know. It is.
I'll be giving you her phone number after the show, and if you want crumb cake, she'll be happy to make you one.
I'll say I don't have that recipe any longer, but there are about 25 people who have it, and I can direct you their way. Yep, you can dump that right on there. You don't want to waste any of it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's it.
Now you can eat it raw, which probably wouldn't be bad.
Actually, it's amazing how much it doesn't. The batter doesn't really taste that good. The cake batter, I've of course tasted every part of it. It tastes when it's all together. It's most delicious, and it's not finished yet, so we have to bake it.
Yes, we're going to bake it at
325 for
about 35 minutes.
35 minutes. Yep. There it goes.
So,
Goodbye, crumb cake.
Ooh, look at that souffle. Okay. Now, it's cooked, but it's not finished. Or as someone who worked for me once said, we said, "How is that chicken salad coming?" It's done, but it's not finished. I'm not sure what he meant.
Until now.
Until now. So here is the crumb cake that I made this afternoon.
That's TV magic, right?
TV magic, yes.
Yeah.
There's a very wonderful, pristine shelf under here.
Yep.
Where we keep everything we need.
Yep. So everyone has seen what we've done up until this point, and this is the last part. And it's important that you let your crumb cake dry, cool completely, because if it's warm, then the powdered sugar will melt, and it doesn't work. You can't rush it, even though you're going to want to. So once your crumb cake is completely dry, you sift confectionate sugar on top.
And don't be afraid to get it on the sides, because you really need to get it.
Yeah, you really do. You need to get all of it. So you want to do it over your sink or on a big wide counter that you can wipe up easily, because it can make a mess. But oh, so worth it. Yeah, you're going to make a lot of new best friends.
Going to get invited to every brunch.
Every brunch.
Every birthday party.
You're going to get calls. People are going to send you gifts. They're going to want.
Feign sickness.
Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff's going to happen.
Break their legs.
It's not a joke. It's going to happen. Yeah, be careful.
Okay.
But enjoy.
Thank you, Lauren.
There it is. Voila.
Well, I've got to toast you, because the burden is now mine, and I'm happy to carry it for you.
What a relief. Thank you. Cheers.
You're a good friend.
You're a good friend. Enjoy.
Enjoy,
everybody.
Thanks for coming. Oh, Lauren, I'm so honored. Thank you so much. I will make it whenever anyone asks me, because you've always made it whenever I've asked you. So it's the least I could do. So if someone asks you to make crumb cake, call me. I'll do it for you.
Oh my gosh.
Once.
Well, and then I can call each one of these people and everyone else who watches it on the show.
Yes.
But actually, I want to say thank you, because I feel like a great burden has been lifted. And I hope that people get to enjoy it, because it's really delicious and fun and easy, and it always makes people happy. It really does.
Well, whoever makes the crumb cake will be the life of the party.
Yeah.
For sure.
For a long, long time.
So thank you very much, Lauren, for
thank
coming
you.
and showing me.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the set and in TV land. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on